Hello and welcome to a video covering a potential necromancy skill leak and more, so whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax and enjoy. For all kinds of RuneScape content and news, be sure to subscribe. Let's get started. The first topic I'd like to talk about are the upcoming magic balance changes, now more specifically, the impact of the announcement of these changes on the RuneScape market. The Fractured Staff of Armador, also known as the FS Away, is going to be changed to a point where it will no longer consume a ridiculous amount of runes, and thus, even though these are changes that are subject to change, I don't believe the change to the rune consumption is up for debate, especially because different J mods have mentioned wanting to fix it, so I'd say it's almost guaranteed to come into the game, and it seems that the player base thinks the same as rune prices are dropping. When taking a look at some of the more commonly used runes in some of the more powerful spells such as Exsanguinate and Insight Fear, mainly Insight Fear as it was by far the most commonly used spell for magic, especially when using the FS Away, we can see a trend of runes dropping in price quite heavily from the 13th of March. For context, the first written announcement of balancing changes was on the 13th of March, with the details of these changes being brought forward on the 16th of March. Blood runes have already lost 15% of their value in less than 2 weeks since the 13th of March. Soul runes have lost 17% of their value since the 13th, and perhaps even crazier, not entirely related to the FSOA changes as it was far before that, they've almost crashed 50% since their peak back at the end of February. Now, those two runes aside, the water runes are perhaps the most interesting rune price to follow right now, as they've not only lost 23.6% of their value since the 13th of March, but water runes quite literally were worth 20 GP each when the FS Away came into the game. They cost nearly 9 times as much as they did before the FS Away came into the game, and it's worth noting that the Insight Fear spell came into the game about a month prior to the FS Away being added into the game. Essentially what this means is that water runes likely have a very long way to go down if these FS Away changes come through. I also wouldn't be surprised if blood runes go below 1000 GP each again, as they used to cost around 565 GP back in July 2021 during the FS Away release. As for soul runes, I wouldn't be too worried about the price going much lower than it is currently. Now, as for the FS Away itself and the pieces of it going down in value, they may have actually been affected by the announcement as well, but I don't want to comment on items that are above max cash. There are some tools out there that allow you to track the item's price, but I would also be wary of fake merchers or players trying to artificially lower the price to then buy yours and sell it for higher by using alt accounts in the Grand Exchange to spam selling FS Away at a certain price. It is a sketchy time to be either buying an FS Away or selling one without the use of the Grand Exchange. Now, in an article or interview by PocketGamer.com, Mod Mike, product director at Jagex, commented on the necromancy skill, which I thought you might find interesting. I quote, "We've come across a few interesting technical challenges with necromancy that were one of the reasons we didn't do it before. I can't go into the specifics, but we wanted to take a look at how some of the NPCs in the game behave, and this led to some improvements that will help the game in general feel more believable." Now, by believable, I think what Mod Mike is referring to is realistic and lively, so some kind of update to either models and animations. Now, this might be completely unrelated to necromancy, but a Twitter user called RS Unreleased managed to pull new skeleton models and even some animations from the game's cache. Now, there is a very high chance that necromancy is going to involve some kind of skeleton and or raising the dead, whether that's skilling or combat related, and since these are updated skeleton models, I'm going to go ahead and assume that these are going to be part of the necromancy skill in some shape or form. What other reason could they possibly have to be updating skeleton models and even creating animated armor? By animated armor, I mean moving armor with like a ghost. You know what I mean. The only other alternative I can think of is that they might be adding a quest to the Fort Frimfree storyline that involves skeletons. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I also managed to win the Golden Gnome for Best RuneScape Video Creator this year, and for that I'd like to verbally thank everyone who voted for me. And if you're wondering why I wasn't able to join the live stream or didn't come on after winning, it's because I was not able to join the Jagex thingy with my microphone and all that due to some technical issues, which was a bit sad, but Muldoon did a fantastic job of reading out my backup speech, so there's that. I didn't expect the golden gnomes to return this year, as last year they skipped over them, and so a couple of creators, including myself, thought they were shelved before the actual announcement, of course, but as you can see, they're not shelved and have returned this year. I really hope the JMods can find the time to add new golden gnome pets for golden gnome winners, as they have not been part of winning a golden gnome since 2020, and it's a bit disappointing if I'm being entirely honest. The in-game pet is completely unique and one way of showing off you've managed to snag RuneScape's version of the Oscars, and it's one of the few ways I can prove I'm actually Protox in game, despite my username at the moment being Futima. If you've ever wondered why my username is Futima and not Protox, well, I've had the Futima username for longer than my YouTube channel has been called Protox, and the Protox username itself was nicked by someone about 2 or 3 years ago to Abyssler with. I tried to get Jagex to ban the username as they were clearly abusing it, and I had proof, and I even made a video of it to, lure people that watch my videos using my username. And the username got banned, the player didn't, of course, and that username is now no longer available. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this end of the week news video, and if you did, be sure to drop a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.